What's up, YouTube? FatKings Phil coming at you for my week 259 from vertical sleeve gastrectomy, which I had back in July of 2013. Details are below. Well, year 5 quickly approaches, so by the next time I come to you, I will have had my 5-year surgery anniversary, which I don't really like that word, but you know, whatever, it is what it is. So let's talk about where I'm at today. So I did get to go see my nutritionist today, so I do have new body comp numbers and all that good stuff up there in the corner. So today's weight was 231.6, which is a 2.4 pound gain. Actually, it was up to almost 4 pounds earlier, so I'm assuming some of that was water. I did see 233 for a couple days. And then 15% body fat. So that's actually down to the lowest I think I've been since this time last year. So this time last year, I had about the same body fat percentage and the same weight, although I did have about 2 pounds more muscle and 2 pounds less of fat. So again, with the hydration being exactly the same on that date and this date, I got to think that that's a pretty accurate number to itself, but 2 pounds difference either way is moot. And kind of gave me a whole new I'll kind of give you a quick tour through my craziness, but I was really upset when I saw 233 on the scale, because I'm like, I have done everything right and I was under 230 again. What is going on? This is really pissing me off. There's no way I should be gaining. And then, but realizing it was such a big jump, I'm like, it's got to be water. And I was trying to figure out where, you know, did I eat something salty, whatever. Neither here nor there. Couldn't figure it out. Ended up just kind of like beating myself up as usual. Kind of freaking out a little bit, just because I was just frustrated more than anything else. And then, you know, today to find the numbers were exactly the same as a year ago today, and that was actually not a bad starting point for the year. And the fact that I did have some, you know, increase this year and then got it under control and feel like I'm more in control and definitely spend more time in the gym, I feel like it almost vindicated the whole healing process that's been going on. I think it's been going on throughout the whole year. It's just been very slow. And again, as we get into more of my story, we'll get to it. Trust me, we'll get to it. I know this is a very long story. All right, so to make the story longer, so there's numbers for those of you who don't care about the rest of the craziness. You can see me next week. All right, so one analogy I got today I thought was great. My nutritionist is like, she's like, every time you seem to try and push the weight down, it's like you push the weight down for a little bit, like a cork in water, and then when you just kind of let go, it pops right back up. I'm like, that is so right on the money. Like, if I am not just busting ass, hardcore, brutal, like dietary, brutal working out, that little cork pops back up a little bit. So I'm starting to wonder if this is just some kind of new set point for me, this 230, 231 area. So I don't know. We'll find out, but I thought that was a good analogy. So, and you know, as far as body fat goes, like I said, to get it really accurate at this point, I really need to do a DEXA scan. I need to find a place that does DEXA scan around here. If I find it, I'll do it, and then I'll check back in 6 months. I'll kind of take the Tanya approach, but you know what? I'm going to keep doing the right things. I'm going to keep eating the right things. I'm going to keep working out. So whatever happens, happens. That's all I really have control over, which probably sounds so obvious to so many of you, but I just feel like, you know, like I'm trying to find some magic solution or some, you know, solution to the puzzle. If I, you know, tweak this that way and this that way, all of a sudden I'll drop back down. And the bottom line is, when I was 220, 215, I did not have this muscle mass. I looked back at my tears and I can see where my lean muscle mass was compared to my body fat. I had lower body fat overall, percentage-wise even, but I also had way lower muscle mass. So I don't know, man. I'm kind of, to have 34-ish pounds of body fat on a 230-pound man that works out regularly, you know, like, I don't know. It's kind of hard to fight with that, you know. So anyway, all right, okay. So as I was digging around in the mental stuff last week, I thought, oh yeah, I'm gonna breeze through year 1, year 2. I mean, like that was all the easy part. But you know what? I was thinking about it, and I glossed over something kind of important in there, and it's been on my mind a lot since. So in year 1, specifically as I was getting closer and closer to goal, you know, I was like, that was my awakening of like, kind of realizing there were things I wanted out of life, and then now they kind of seem like they were in reach. And so I really did want to fix my marriage. I wanted my marriage to be more of what I had hoped, have more of a partner to go do stuff and all the things I couldn't do before and those kinds of things. So I was the one that changed. So in my wife's defense, I was asking for quote unquote new things. When we'd always had we've had personality differences and struggles and stuff anyway. And some other stuff comes into play as we go along in the story. But, it just wasn't working, and I was finding a lot of validation in the community. I had a lot of friends in the community, and one of my friends in the community was about the same spot in her journey. It was very far away. We talked a lot. We got really close. We would give each other advice on, hey, try this in your marriage. Maybe this will help your marriage, and vice versa. We were both trying to fix our marriages. And I'm sure you can see the road where this is going. But sorry, I've got an eyelash that keeps flicking in front of my eye. So over time, we just grew closer and closer and closer as friends until pretty quickly, I think there was a point I realized I was in an emotional affair. Like, I was having an emotional affair, which I think in a lot of ways is almost worse than just a physical one-time thing or something, which I'd always just in my very black and white way, it was like, I would never be that guy. I would never cheat. I would never do this. But you know what? When it's right there and it slowly creeps in and you slowly start falling in love with somebody else, I can see how it happens now. I totally get it. I mean, I'm not justifying it in any way or means. So sorry if that kind of dropped your opinion of me a little bit there, but it happened. And as time went on, especially as I got closer to goal, I realized I was full on in love with this other person, and they were having the same feelings for me. And unfortunately, we were barred by distance and by life situations and stuff, and there was never really going to be a us, but it took a lot of heartache and a lot of pain to realize that as we were going through our divorces and stuff, and even though we were both going to be single, there was no end of the road for us. There was just heartache there. There was just this hard realization that no matter how hard we tried to figure it out, no matter how hard we tried to do all these things, that it was going to happen. And this dovetails into the whole weight loss thing in the sense that it did make me realize that I could have all those things, that those things were open and available to me, all of the things I'd wanted in a relationship, all the things I wanted to do in activities, all the things I wanted to do with my life was possible now. Like, weight was no longer a barrier to me. I could go, do all the adventures. I could do all the physical stuff. I could feel good enough about myself and attractive and stuff like that to be in another relationship after my marriage. Like I don't know if this makes any sense, but like all of those doors opened me, and my if I was going through life with blinders like this, well, maybe my blinders were open a little bit more, and I was seeing more things and seeing more things from different angles, and that really shaped a lot of that stuff, especially in year 2, as I approached my wife and I said, look, I know these are the things I need. If you want to save the marriage, we need to start working on it. And through time we found out that she had a medical condition. If you go back to my videos, you can figure it out, but I won't rephrase it because it's none of my business to be sharing her stuff. But we realized that I think in that moment I realized, it's not that she doesn't want to do all these things to be with me. It's that she can't, and that's okay. Like, she needs to live the way it makes her happy, and I deserve to live the way that makes me happy. But that was the big realization for me. Like, I deserve to have the things that I want and that I need, so long as I'm taking care of my responsibilities to my kids and even to her to some degree. Like, I still am very, thoughtful, and I'm available to her if she needs something or her mom needs something, because that was family. It's been family forever. We share kids together. So like if I don't know, the ceiling fan breaks, I go over there and fix it. If I don't know, the computer stops working, I go fix it. Whatever. So if the garage door gets knocked off the track, I go over and help put it back on. It's a good learning opportunity for my son to learn how to do these things, and my daughter. So I use it as a teaching experience, and I want to show them that this is what you do as a good man, that you still take care of the people that matter. And maybe that's me trying to make up a little bit for maybe having a time where I didn't feel like such a good man. But yeah, so that such a key piece of that year, the emotional awakening and the mental awakening that kind of started the whole spin of year 3. And because year 3 is so critical in this story as we get into it, I just feel like I really needed to set the stage a little better. Like, that was the powder keg and the heartache and the misery and everything that got me to that point, Lord, realizing that I could never have this other thing that I wanted so badly, and I couldn't fix the thing at home that I wish I could. And that, but at the same time, I needed to make a step of faith into the void to go after the things that I really wanted and needed in life. And that was part of the weight loss journey. So, and at that point, I was at a good weight. I felt strong. I felt, as emotionally strong as I could be, being a little bit heartbroken. But that kicked off the year that started things a little crazy. And as I was going into year 3, that's when we decided, my wife and I decided, well, we're not going to be able to fix it, so we'll sell the house. We'll get 2 separate houses. We'll, all the normal stuff you do. We'll split up the assets, all that stuff. So we started all that process, but we had a really hard time selling our house. It was really slow going, and we had 3 different offers. 2 of them backed out. I had to replace the roof out of pocket to the tune of like 17 grand. Just you name it, we had it. And I was just, and then we're living in the same house, and we're knowing that we're not going to be together, and I'm trying to get a new house built for myself. This is a new build. She's trying to find a place for her. It was madness, man, and that started wearing me down. And I definitely remember using alcohol more as an escape, just to get the stress off. I remember being miserable. I remember feeling just alone and trying to stay strong for the kids, and it was a mess. And that is when the weight started coming back on. I started slipping in my habits. It was very hard for me just to maintain good habits. And these are not excuses. I think these are good reasons for this to happen, but that's when it started happening. When I lost focus, when I couldn't focus on making my eating and exercising the same priority that it was in years 1 and 2, it started to slip. And even though I was like moving boxes and packing stuff when we finally did sell the house, I think that's my saving grace, is that I was working so hard. I would go to work all day, come home, pack up boxes, take them to the storage place with my son. We'd pack them in there. We'd come back, we'd do it again, and we'd go to bed, rinse, repeat for weeks. My son and I moved the entire house ourselves, just the 2 of us, with the exception of my gun safe, which I had to get a couple of friends to come over and help me because it's like 900 pounds empty. So yeah, that year was when it really started driving me down, and I realized I had kind of hit a wall. And it took to the late part of year 3 to kind of start coming out of that, and that's when I met my girlfriend at the time, and we started dating, and there was some on again, off again there, but I actually was in a really strong place in that regard. I felt like, well, I went through all this shit and survived. I went through losing this other person that I love dearly and survived that, that, and realizing that could never be. So I'll be fine with this. And it was on again, off again, and then we started dating, and then things got really good, and I was very happy, and then that flipped the other side of the coin. So then, we have friends coming over, and on the weekends, we're throwing parties at her house, and we're having people over, and we're having drinks and snacks, and I'm feeling like a very normal person. My life feels normal. I have, what I thought was a healthy relationship and good interactions with the kids, and everybody was settled in. And my ex-wife was doing well, both with her medical condition and with her own life. Still was really good friends with this other person, and so things were all kind of moving forward, like life was moving forward, and I think I got complacent there. So I went from the stress of not paying attention to my diet to I just want to be happy and enjoy this because I've been so stressed out for so long. I just want to be normal. But you're never going to be normal. You're always a weight loss surgery patient, and I lost focus there. And through that relationship, it slowly, the weight crept up. I would kind of go into maintenance light where I'd just back off a little bit. It'll come back off. But that's not how my body works. If I want to lose, I have to be in weight loss surgery mode. That's it. I got to be in the gym. I got to be eating correctly. I can't just kind of eat correctly or kind of go to the gym. My body, the way it is with my metabolism, has to be full on. There's no way around it. And as year 3 kind of was winding down, things between my girlfriend and I started to get a little tense. We started noticing some pretty big, we were talking about some pretty serious stuff. We were talking about, well, what would it look like if we did all move in together and stuff like this. And my kids and her kids and her and I, and where would we do that, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden, you know, political positions started kind of becoming more of a pain in the ass. You know, the general tension of politics in general kind of started. That was around the time that the election was starting up. You know, all that nonsense I won't even get into. But yeah, it just got more and more stressful, and slowly I just shut down emotionally. She kind of just finally convinced me that, no, fine, we're not meant to be together. And once I shut down, I shut down. I couldn't turn back on. She did ask me, hey, can we just, she did come to me finally right toward the end there and say, hey, can we just spend this summer trying to like rekindle everything and just have a good summer, and let's not put any pressure on things. And I was like, I'm done, man. I'm done. And that left me in this very kind of just like, here I am again. Like, you know, forget it. You know, like, this is not for me. You know, and I kind of felt like, yeah, I'll kind of try and focus on my weight again and blah, 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 blah. And I just couldn't rally, man. It was too many. It was too many hits with a small reprieve and all that happiness and just trying to enjoy normal life, which just made it worse. And then, you know, I just was weak. I didn't have the strength to kind of rally, and I kind of just floated around at that point, which conveniently brings us to year 4, so I will save that for next time because I know this is already long. But since next week is my 5-year anniversary video and I want to do some stuff, if you want to do an Ask Me Anything thing for my 5-year, let's do that. So shoot me a comment below with questions you have for me. If you want me to answer, you know, answer it on the next video. Maybe we'll take a little reprieve from the story here, depending on how many I get. And then we will pick up that 4-year story after that and get you caught up to speed. And this will kind of show you where my resolve has kind of come from and why I'm where I'm at. And I'll continue to work on the mental stuff, and I'll share that with you too. All right, guys. Hope that was of benefit. I didn't put you all to sleep. Until next time, remember, it's good to be the king.